Hello and welcome to Game Shock TV, your monthly slice of gaming mayhem. I'm Chris Hewitt. I enjoy long walks in the park, wearing tights, and of course taking out my friends with sniper rifles from across the rooftops, which means this month is pretty much my perfect month. But don't take my word for it, here's what's on today's show. We get the lowdown on the latest Assassin's Creed in our Revelations review. Gotham City is on the wane with the return of Wayne as Batman. There's more ammo than a Latin textbook. I don't get that one. As Call of Duty wages war with Battlefield. And we round up the latest games that won't increase gun-related crime statistics. It's November, which can mean only one thing. It's Christmas! Kind of. Anyway, with Happy Santa Day just around the corner, there's a slew of big-name games, rehashes and sequels, all vying for attention on your wish list. But towering above them all with his cute little bitty bat ears is the world's foremost billionaire vigilante playboy, Richard Branson. Otherwise known as Batman. What, you didn't know?
We were fortunate enough, really, I guess, that we weren't tied into a film, so we had enough time to deliver the game we really wanted to make. You know, we could make a game about a character that we all loved and we felt really passionately about.
The new mayor of Gotham City, you know, he's built this super prison.
You've got this one zone full of anyone who's ever been caught for these crimes. And we have Joker, Two-Face, Riddler, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange.
We try and make it feel relevant, you know, so you're not just going to collect a pizza box from the other side of town. You are trying to do something that has a meaningful result within Gotham City. There are obviously guidelines from DC, you know, don't ruin our brand, please be respectful for it. And we are, you know, we really love the universe.
We did some investigation on multiplayer, but I think we very quickly came to the conclusion that if we want to make the scope of game that we want to make with Arkham City and give you all the possibilities that are in Arkham City, that we need to stick to a single-player game. And from my personal point of view, like, I prefer single-player games. I think the success of the game is because the team felt inspired. You know, the team felt excited by the game we were making, that we all think secretly that somehow we could be Batman if we had the dedication and the time.
We try and make a game that the people who really want to pick up on every detail are going to get something extra from, and also a game that people who just want to punch people in the face are going to think it's the best way to punch people in the face, because it is. So, you know, Batman punches people in the face best, so if you just want to do that, this is the game for you.
The immersive narrative of Arkham Asylum was Lee's surprise package of 2009, and frankly it seemed all Rocksteady would have to do would be to offer up the original in some different wrapping paper, and no one would care. Not so, as Arkham City plays out in a sprawling and varied metropolis, more cohesive, involving, and downright superlative than its predecessor. In line with Mayor Sharp's machinations, Arkham Asylum has been expanded into entire districts of Gotham City, leaving moody cosplayer Bruce Wayne to infiltrate the prison and defeat his most deadly foes via fist, brain, or nifty bat gadget. Whereas Asylum focused on a straightforward plot by the Joker, City somehow manages to add a ton of new villains and also create an intricate storyline which fully justifies each antagonist's presence. Moreover, it keeps up a varied and soaring pace throughout, even managing a nod to the 60s Batman movie by punching a shark in the nose. Boss fights are hugely improved, varying greatly from stealthy stalkathons to mass brawls to well-timed reflex testers. Combat is still a free-flowing tour de force with a few welcome tweaks, and some neat upgrades to Batman's utility belt serve up ingenious options for flooring assailants and planning your takedowns. A considered learning curve means after several hours play and several hundred pitiful deaths, you really start to feel like you're a masked Avenger with deep-seated abandonment issues and latent psychosis marooned in fully fleshed out comic book world. Additional content even allows you to hang from ceilings in leather bondage gear, as Catwoman we should add, or play as a staff-wielding ankle-biter Robin in the quick fix fist fights of the challenge rooms. It's very difficult to find any kind of fault in Arkham City that doesn't feel churlish, quite frankly. It's like criticising the Mona Lisa for looking a bit glum. Everything about Arkham is well planned and executed with style and intelligence. Even with all the hoopla surrounding the rest of the season's releases, it's hard to envisage anything one-upping the old Cape Crusader. Last year, DICE and EA thought they had a winner. Medal of Honor would storm back onto consoles and dethrone Call of Duty. Well, as things turned out, yeah, not so much with the dethroning Call of Duty. Anyway, this year it's Battlefield 3's turn. DICE have been purring about the new graphics engine to anyone who'll listen, but we dug a bit deeper and asked, are nifty visuals alone enough to unseat the incumbent military dictator? As is the fashion with shooters these days, Battlefield 3 is essentially two games, one where worldwide team play is the industry trendsetter, and the other where you're a solitary bloke running through generic wars in a quasi-cinematic manner. Single player serves up true Battlefield light, from piloting fighter jets and tanks to some standard squatting duck shoots, where you're primarily an excuse for the graphics engine to play around with volumetric dust clouds. Volumetric dust clouds. Texture pack installed, and without it you may as well be visiting the 1990s, the Frostbite 2 engine does a superb job, as it is more than eager to tell you, dangling its new appendages in front of you at every opportunity. From glinting dust to blinding sunlight, it's all quite showy, but nevertheless impressive. Gunfire and gun handling for the most part feel satisfying, but occasionally lack a bit of punch. However, for lone gunslingers, the story will count most, which is somewhat unfortunate, as it's the least of DICE's concerns. In its eagerness to appear raw, realistic and dramatic, Battlefield has charged gung-ho into Call of Duty territory, but without the enjoyable bombast and bayisms. Channeling you through a set path is standard, but the game is so hell-bent on making you do things exactly how it tells you to, that it shreds the illusion of free will completely. Fancy adopting a different route to take out an enclave? Think twice, because straying from the predetermined script will result in a rather unfair and swift hole in the head. Your AI teammates are so set in their ways as to ignore you completely, and stealth sections more often than not act as a toilet break before all hell breaks loose. All in all, it feels disappointingly linear and uninvolved, a clinically well-crafted but hollow experience. However, the powers that be have decided the stories are for little girls, and that human warfare maketh a man. So it's online that Battlefield glows with confidence, embracing huge maps. Multiplayer games play out as intricate tactical battles, where each class is leveled up individually, in turn leveling the field so much more effectively than Call of Duty. If a player takes you out with a sniper rifle, you can jump into a helicopter. If you repeatedly succumb to the helicopter fire, then jump in a tank. Oh, and if the tanks bully you, get in a jet. And after that, well, you're Overall, the multiplayer is as brilliant and innovative as expected. Great guns, great maps, and let's face it, flying a jet hasn't been this cool since Arnie went all apprentice in True Lies. You're fired! Let's face it, media punched by Call of Duty has little to do to win over its army of fans, but there are plenty of skeptics out there who have yet to be impressed by its European bailout-sized budget. But does this iteration of Call of Duty have what it takes in its arsenal to take down the Battlefield behemoth? Well, Steve Hill made a fort out of sofa cushions and lay in wait to have a good old look at the future of modern warfare.
The single player of Call of Duty is kind of the shop window. It's the bit that everyone looks at, you know, the preposterous set pieces. For instance, you know, you're boarding a Russian submarine that's loaded with cruise missiles. Or I think the one everyone's talking about is, I think you're trying to save the Russian president or capture the Russian president. And yeah, the plane starts going down, so you end up having a zero gravity gunfight. Yeah, it's called Modern Warfare 3, but if that is the experience of the military, I'll be absolutely astonished. I mean, you know, we'd all sign up. Was the opening scene, you know, an aeroplane flies into a skyscraper in New York, or something hits a skyscraper, you know, it's like a flash. Yeah, you're fighting in the stock exchange, you're fighting in the streets in New York, which, again, could be deemed grossly insensitive. It's fairly close to the bone. But when you look back at the first Modern Warfare, the all gillied up mission was, you know, incredible, incredibly intense, tight, terrifying combat, and now it just seems to have been blown out of all proportion. You know, it's just throw more and more at it. Yeah, you don't really get that kind of subtlety anymore, I don't think. It's definitely spectacular, and you really need to play through the single player just to get the taste of, you know, of the Call of Duty series, really, the Modern Warfare series. The thing with, you know, online team deathmatch, general deathmatch, you know, there's always somebody better than you. There's always a kid in Texas who plays 18 hours a day. So try to level it out a little bit with, you know, the weapons upgrades. I think if you use the same weapon a lot, you get specific perks on that weapon, so you can kind of hone the action towards what you're good at. But, you know, even if, like me, you are absolutely useless at deathmatch, there's these survival modes. It's essentially like the zombie modes from the other kind of franchise, from the Black Ops, except they're heavily armed soldiers. The Battlefield engine is probably slightly more advanced. It's the Frostbite engine they make a big deal of. MW3 engine hasn't really changed since the first Modern Warfare. Yeah, I mean it's still functional, but it's a solid console engine really. What started as a kind of fairly subtle series has now just gone, what's the phrase, jump the shark kind of thing. It's just, it's great fun to play, and it is genuinely jaw-dropping. People use that phrase, but you get to the end of a mission, you're almost laughing at how ridiculous it is. But I don't know, maybe they could hone it down, make it more subtle, surprise everyone. But I assume they just keep ramping it up until the next big thing comes along.
This month's games are frankly soaked in blood, but we found the one thing even more disturbing than that: Just Dance 3. We got Steve Hill to dust off his sequin platform shoes and delve into gaming's most worrying trend.
The life of a games journalist, as everyone knows, is filled with glamorous swinging parties. Not that kind of swinging. Sadly, most of them involve things like this.
We love it, don't we? We love a bit of the way, don't we?
Yeah, it's hilarious. That's 2 on it.
Dancing away.
Just Dance 3 is a perfectly good game for your living room if it's big enough, but it's not the sort of thing you want to be doing in front of a room full of strangers. Happily, wielding a microphone means you can accost a celebrity lineup instead, or Jamila.
51 tracks, and Jamila's favourite is?
I think the song that I would look least like a bellend dancing to would have to be Rihanna, Only Girl in the World. It's an elegant beat.
Jamila, for me, you are the only girl in the world. Apart from the mother of my child, of course. You're better than Two Shoes.
Two Shoes love it. Woo!
For gamers with 2 left feet, however, there's loads of games out this month worth doing a little jig over. And you can see those after the break. The games, that is, not the little jig. For that's happening right now. Oh yeah. Riverdance. It's an Irish thing. See you after the break.